What's up, folks? Welcome to Woodworking Against the Grain. Happy New Year. Look here, we're going to smoke a brisket today. I'm going to show you how to put some good rub on this brisket before we put it on the smoker. This is one that I make up myself. There's all kinds of them out there. You try whichever one you want. This one is pretty good, especially for beef. I'm going to zoom the camera in here in just a minute and show you how to mix this up, how to rub it on this brisket. We're going to put it on the smoker about 250 degrees with some good cherry and orange wood, and we're going to smoke this thing the biggest part of all day, and we're going to make some good creamy bacon potato salad to go with it. You're not going to want to miss any of this. I'm going to zoom the camera in, show you how to mix up this rub and how to put it on this brisket. All right, look here. We're going to mix this rub up, and we're going to rub it down on, this is about a 12, 15 pound brisket right here. We're going to rub it on both sides of this, rub it in real good, and turn it over and do the same thing to the other side, and we're going to cook this brisket fat side up. You always want to cook your brisket fat side up so that fat will cook down into the meat, and you also don't want to trim the fat till after you've cooked it. Let that fat stay on there and cook into the meat, and then you can trim it off after it gets done. This is a good beef rub right here. It consists, this is 3 tablespoons of white sugar, 3 tablespoons of paprika. Just put this in something that you can shake. We're going to get all this, once we get it in here, what I don't spill, we're going to shake that up good. Right here is a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now, if you're cooking much with nutmeg, you're going to want to use freshly ground. But for a rub like this, you go ahead and buy the store-bought, already ground up kind. Not going to hurt anything. Right here is 3 tablespoons of lemon pepper. 2½ tablespoons. The other half went on the counter here. Teaspoon of white pepper, ground white pepper. Teaspoon of red pepper, ground red pepper, and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a teaspoon of garlic. I'm going to rake up this stuff that I spilled here. Try to rake it off in my hand and get it in here too. Now, put this in something you can put a lid on. Get you a tight lid on there and then just kind of shake it up a little bit till you get all this dry stuff mixed up good. You ain't got no big deal. But you're going to want to put this on this brisket. Let it sit on there an hour or two before you put the brisket on the smoker. Just kind of let it soak into the juice on the meat and kind of get happy with that brisket before you stick it out there on a hot smoker. Now, once we get this wrapped up good here, what we're going to do is we're just going to take this. I call this Rod's Real Good Rub. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's written on the canister right there, so nobody around here will bother that. Rod's Rub. Mix you some of this stuff up. And just kind of, and you can be a little bit liberal with it. Sprinkle it on there pretty good. You don't want to overdo it. Still want to taste the brisket. But you want to get enough on there that you can rub that in really good. And once you get it on there, you want to just take your hand and just rub that into the meat and the fat on that brisket right there. Just get it all over it. It's got a real strong cinnamon smell to it. If you like that, that's a good thing, and I do. This is going to make this brisket cook up really flavorful and really tender. Now, I'm going to turn around here and wash my hands before I pick up this rub jar again, so y'all just bear with me. A little bit more up here on this end. A little bit on the edge right there. Rub that in good. And once you think you've got this side rubbed on there pretty good, we're just going to turn it over. We're going to do the same thing to the fat side of it. Sprinkle a good portion on this fat side. And this recipe, you can, you know, double it or triple it if you need just a whole bunch of this. But what I made up there is enough to do a big brisket like this, plus 2 or 3 slabs of ribs, or a couple of more briskets. You just kind of make up however much of it you need, and it'll keep in the cabinet for a pretty good while. I wouldn't keep it just indefinitely because the spices will get stale, but it'll stay up there a couple of months. Keep a good tight lid on it and use it again. Now, I'm going to show you a trick here that not everybody knows, and this is what's going to kind of set your brisket off where it's going to be just a little bit better than a lot of them that you run across. I got to step over here just a minute. Now what I've got right here is 1/4 of a cup of molasses. And I'm going to drizzle this on the fat side of this brisket, about half of it, not all of it. And I'm going to rub that, just like I did that rub, into this, on this side, into this fat. Now this is going to make a sweet caramelization of this fat as this thing smokes. It's going to make you want to slap your mama. Don't do that, but it's going to make you want to. Now, once we got that side, we're going to turn this back over. We're going to put the rest of this molasses on the meat side of this brisket. Get all of it out of the bowl there. A little bit thick, so you kind of have to get your hands dirty with it. Rub that in good. This will do a couple of things. It flavors it really well, gives it a very unique flavor, and it also, during the initial part of this cooking process, helps to keep this dry rub stuck to the meat real well. Now I'm going to zoom the camera back out and talk to you just a minute before we put this on, and then we'll be on about our business. Don't go away. All right, look here. We got this rubbed down, and the smoker's hot. We're about ready to put it on. I just want to talk to you a minute about the kind of wood you use to run your smokers with. Of course, you know, traditional wisdom is to use hickory, and hickory's fine. It's real good, but I want to tell you something about hickory. If your hickory's the least bit green, you don't want to leave this brisket in there with green hickory all day long, because it's going to over smoke it. It's going to be about like a pine tar after a while. So if you're going to use hickory that's not real good and dry, I'd suggest putting this out there for about 3 to 4 hours. That'll be smoked enough, then wrap it up real good in foil and cook it the rest of the way. I'm going to use a mixture today of cherry and orange wood. It's a very mild smoke, so I'm not going to have to worry about over smoking this. I'm going to leave it out there 5 or 6 hours, check the temperature on it, check how deep the smoke's gone into it, and then I'll make up my mind whether or not I want to wrap it up or leave it uncovered. 250 in the smoker till the internal temperature gets up to about 165. 170 if you like it well done, but if you'll take it out at about 160, 165, it'll still cook a few minutes, it'll still be good and juicy. Now, once I get this out there on the smoker, in just a little while we're going to come back in here and make some creamy bacon potato salad to go along with it. If you got anything to do today, get it done before I get back. You're going to want to watch this. We're about ready to start on our potato salad. I want you to learn how to make a good potato salad. This is a good kind of a mayonnaise-based potato salad. It's going to have some sour cream and some bacon in it. We'll talk more about that in a minute. We're going to just kind of get started here first by getting the potatoes ready. I've already got these red potatoes peeled and washed. I got them sitting right here. We're going to cut them up. I want to show you a good way to cut these potatoes up so they'll cook pretty quick and you won't have to spend all day waiting on them to cook. First thing you want to do is get you a good steel. You need to start with a sharp knife. Put you a good edge on your knife with a good steel. It doesn't do a whole lot of sharpening, but it straightens out the edge of your good knives and makes it where you can cut stuff pretty safely without worrying about cutting your finger. So use a steel and keep your knives sharp. Best way to cut up a potato that I have found is cut it in half first and get you a flat surface. Once you get you a flat surface, it don't move around quite as bad. Then you can kind of cut it in pieces and then stack those pieces back up like they came off. Then all you have to do is just run your knife through there like that to make small cubes, all right? It's a lot quicker than trying to just cut them up really any other way. Just cut them into wedges, put them back together just like you hadn't even cut it, and then just run your knife through there in about half-inch cubes like that. That's the best way I've found to cut up your basic red potato. Then put that in a pot. We're going to cut the rest of these up. I'm not going to bore you with this. We're going to cover them with water. We're going to boil them till they're fork tender. And then we'll take them out, and I'll show you the magic we're going to work on them to make them really good. We got our potatoes done. Got them out of the pot here. Got them in a bowl so you can see what's going on with them. I'm going to tell you something about potato salad. Now, potato salad, you make it like you like it. I'm going to give you some measurements here, but these measurements are kind of rough. You really just need to add these ingredients till it tastes good to you. Just taste your potato salad as you go along. When it gets just like you want it, stop putting stuff in it and start eating it. We got about 2 pounds of fork tender red potatoes cooked up here. We're going to add, I got about a half a cup of sour cream here. We're just going to pile that in on top of this. Use your rubber spatula to get as much of that out of the bowl as you can. I've got about a third of a cup right here of mayonnaise. Just plain old mayonnaise. I've got a half a teaspoon of salt. And again, that's one of those things that you're just going to kind of have to add to taste. Get it like you want it. I'm going to put quite a bit of black pepper in this. I like a lot of black pepper. Some folks don't. If you don't put much in it. Don't put any in it. Whatever floats your boat. But I like a lot of black pepper. Put all that in there. Right here I've got 2 green onions, blades and all, chopped up kind of rough there. We're just going to add that in there. I think I'll wait and add that in a minute. Right here, this is some good stuff. This is zucchini relish. It tastes like almost like a dill pickle relish or a squash relish. It's vinegar based, so it gives a good twang to this kind of recipe. So if you want to add some pickle relish, you don't have any of this. This is homemade, but you know, just a good brand of pickle relish would be fine. If you want to put some of that in there to give it a little bit of a vinegar flavor to it. And once we've got that in there, some people, you can take a spoon and just stir this up if you want to, if you like to leave it chunky. I think potato salad absorbs your other ingredients better if you mash it. So I'm going to mash this up like I was just going to make mashed potatoes. And then I got 2 other ingredients that I'm going to put in here. And we're going to just put some plastic wrap over this bowl, put it in the fridge, and just let it chill out for a while till the brisket gets done. And all these flavors kind of get used to each other. Don't go away. We're going to mash this up, add a couple of more ingredients here in just a minute. And when the brisket gets done, we'll have us some supper to eat. I've got this mashed up about like I want it now, and I didn't mash it real smooth. And I went back and added a little bit more sour cream and a little bit more mayonnaise to this and a little more salt. Like I said, everybody's taste is different. Everybody's idea of the consistency they want is a little different. So you kind of just have to make potato salad, you know, to suit yourself. It's just kind of a guideline to go by. Tell you what to put in it, not necessarily exactly how much to put in it. I also put about a 1/4 of a teaspoon of paprika in there just to give it a little bit more color. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add those green onions that we talked about a while ago. And this is what's going to make it really good right here. This is about 6 pieces of fried bacon that we're just going to sprinkle through there. And I'm going to fold this in. And then I'm going to cover this with plastic wrap. Put it in the refrigerator till the brisket gets done. And then we're going to take it out and eat it. The brisket's smelling really good out there. Doesn't like just probably a couple of hours and it'll be ready. So go ahead and do whatever you got to do. The brisket gets done, I'll pull it off and show it to you, and we'll taste of it. See how it is. All right, everybody, look here. We got our brisket done. The internal temperature on this puppy right here is 172 degrees right now. I'm going to zoom this in just a minute, and I'm going to cut a piece of it and let you see what the inside of it looks like. Then we're going to taste of it. We're going to have some of that good potato salad to go with it after a while. So I'm going to zoom the camera in so you can see what the inside of this looks like. Just hang on. We're going to slice just a little bit off right here just to see what it looks like. Good fork in it there. Now that's got a good smoke ring on it. It's good and juicy, but it's plenty done enough. That's the way a good smoked brisket is supposed to look. I'm going to zoom that back out just for a second. Let's just get a bite of this and see, make sure it's as good as it looks. And then we'll know. That's off the chain right there. Very juicy, very tender, good and smoky. Thanks for watching. Come back to see us.